Hello, everybody. This is Hanson, and we're coming to you live on Facebook and YouTube tonight. And we've got a very, very special guest with us, and he is a principal of a school in Singapore, a very small school for preschoolers. And we're going to have a discussion tonight specifically on the topic of transitioning back into school life for your children. So his knowledge and experience in this field of early childhood education is quite extensive. And in fact, besides that, he is a coach as well. So he coaches sports, life skills, and he is a principal of a school here in Singapore. So tonight, I'm just going to bring him on in a second and welcome him. If you guys can give a very warm welcome to him when I bring him on. And don't forget, put in the comments which country you are watching us from. And if you have any questions, we'll try our best to answer them while we are live. All right, so without further ado, I'll welcome Coach Zen and the principal of the school, Mr. Jiang Haixin. Good evening. How are you, Zen?
Hi, good evening. Great.
Welcome
very good.
Welcome to the show.
Here. Right.
Welcome to the show tonight. And we are going live. You heard my introduction, and we would like to really, really assist parents in this very important time as transitioning back into school life. I know that friends in Australia and New Zealand have gone back to school. In Singapore, you can tell us a little bit more about that in a moment. And some other countries have gone back as well. But what we're talking about, the context of tonight is they have been on holidays. A lot of them have been home stuck under lockdown or COVID-19 related quarantine, etc. And there's been a very, very tough period for a lot of parents who have never experienced anything like this before. And so with your experience and you working on the ground, teaching through a lot of this period with the children from the essential workers in Singapore, we would like to open that discussion. So Zen, give us a bit of an overview of your background and in relation to your school and what's going on at the moment right now. When's this transition happening?
All right, so a bit of a background about myself. I graduated from my early childhood education in 2012, and it's been about 8 years since I've been involved in the early childhood industry, be it in schools, enrichment centers, or just teaching young children through sports. Yeah, so so basically I have just been upgrading myself and just trying to find out more about how can I help children to grow and how do I get a very safe and practical developmental practices for them.
Right. So your school is operating daily?
Yes, so our school is kindergarten, so like we took a break during the school holidays, which has been brought forward from the month of June to the month of May. So previously, before that, we had still been operating up until COVID struck and we had to close down.
Right. So what was the biggest challenge you found around the parents and the children? What is the biggest challenge that you found that the children had to deal with and the parents had to deal with? What was going on in that period, and specifically related to going back? So we want to find out, the temperature, meaning the emotional temperature of the children now and their families, because they've been struggling this period. Where are we currently at? How do they currently feel?
Right. Before we go into that, I think I need to elaborate a bit more on the needs of our children. So in our studies, there's basically 5 basic levels of needs. So you can think of it as a pyramid. So at the very base, it will be all your physical needs, which will be your food, enough water, place to sleep. And the second level would be the safety. Are they secure? Do they have a sense of security?
Right.
So that would be like having a place to sleep in and feeling safe in a non-violent family. Right. The third level would be more of a sense of belonging and love. Do they get enough love from their parents?
Yes.
And then the next 2 level, which would be the esteem. So the children feel good about themselves, and finally, are they allowed to do what they want to do, and do they feel good about it?
Right.
So yes, so I think the biggest challenge in this is that when all the children they are at home, parents, while they are struggling to do their work and take care of the children at the same time, they only manage to fulfill the basic needs, which would be food and water, a bit of security, try to spend some time to play with them and go through their homework with them, right? But what the kids, what they are missing out on is actually more of like the esteem of the children. So whether do the children feel secure at home, knowing that, I like doing this, I can do this, and my mommy or daddy is going to do this with me, right? It's because from the perspective of a young children or the young child, what they do is, where am I going? Why am I at home now? Why is this period? Why is mommy and daddy at home with me? When can I go out and meet my friends again? Right. So I think in their mind, these are probably some of the more crucial questions that they'll be asking, and they will want a lot of security in knowing that, I can meet my friends, instead of an answer like, honey, I do not know how long this is going to be. So they feel insecure when they do not know, when there's no answer or no schedule for them. Right. So I think mostly it's about the timetable. Right. And so so kids get anxious when they do not get answer. Yes, and it manifests in many different forms. It could be like shorter temper, more crying, or even just unwillingness to do things. Yeah, so these are most of the challenges that parents can see at home from their kids when their needs are not being met.
Right. And as far as the parents are concerned, I mean, when they're interacting with you, some of them will be dropping the kids off, picking them up, and they've noticed this change. I mean, anybody who will be watching this now live or watching the replay, they will know that it has been really tough. It has been a completely different paradigm. It's been a completely different way of running your family. And that tension has been there between, husband and wife, also with the children. So the role modeling is critical. So what have you seen, and the feedback from the parents, have you seen any real good strategies that the parents have used with the children and to keep that dynamic positive and role model well? Have you seen anything specific that you could share with us?
All right. So a few of the role models that I can share about is probably parents really taking out the time to sit down with their child to actually go through an activity. So for our school, we do send our very detailed lesson plans to the parents so that they can continue the home-based learning in addition to having the screen time on Zoom. So yes, you can see that some of our parents, they really they invest their time and they take pictures of their kids doing the activities, being with them there, and you can see that the children, they are really happy about it, and they are very willing to share. And parents, they can get to see this side of their children, which they don't normally get to see.
Right. So would you say that there was possibly a better bond during this period?
Yes, definitely there will be a better bond during the parents and their child.
Because I can imagine that, with this stress, the parents, some of them may be, feeling very anxious, and some of this will rub off in their temperament with their children. But it's really, really comforting to hear from you that people are very mature about this and they're very understanding. There are cases around the world that we have seen that domestic, violence has risen. There's been unrest in the house that's risen. So I'm really, really glad to hear some good and positive feedback from you about your immediate network. So do you have specific, let's say, tactics? Because we'll move on now to going back to school, because that was the focus of tonight. So I just wanted to get a good understanding of where you're at with the parents and the kids. That's excellent. Thanks for sharing. And now if we can move on to understanding a little bit about that transition, what's the most important things that parents need to know transitioning from the holiday period back to school, but now also holiday period post pandemic, back into school. So if you have got any thoughts on that, it would be great.
All right. So I think the most important thing for parents to prepare their kids back to school is to have a very specific schedule or a timetable.
Right.
Because we all know that children, they need a timetable. They like to be told what to do, right? So it might not seem the case in some families, but yes, all children, they deep down, they need to be told what to do, and they're actually constructing their world based on what you tell them to do. Right? So one of the most easiest thing that you can get started with is to have a very structured daily timetable. Right? For example, what time to wake up and what is the expected bedtime. Right? So just by we are waking up at 8 a.m. every day, the kids will know that, oh yes, there's a structure, there's something that I need to follow, and they will be glad to follow it.
Right. Structure, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I can relate to that, Zen, because as you know, I've got two boys, 10 and 12. And, even though parents, you'll see out there that there will be resistance, the children will, especially as they grow older, like about 7, 8 onwards, more cognitive, and they will challenge authority. And this is just part of growing. This is part of learning. And sometimes it drives me mad. But I take a deep breath and I realize that this is just part of the journey, and not to get personally, emotionally upset by it, but just to understand that it's part of it. Do you relate with that with your teaching?
Yes, definitely. Yes, of course. So
yeah.
A lot of the time, we have children who just do not want to listen. They think that they are just trying to find out where their boundaries are.
Right. So that opens up something really important. So going back to school, it's been probably a little bit, it's been a lot different over the holidays and also during the pandemic, during COVID lockdowns, etc. So maybe the schedules are a little bit upside down, and now is possibly the time, Zen, if they're coming back to school next week, or they're currently now, probably one of the best things to do, I can just logically think, would be to really nail down that schedule. And like you said, start with the simplest things, that is wake up and go to bed and possibly work back, right? Just reverse engineer it.
All right.
So what are some of the things that you would put in a morning schedule that you suggest to parents that you've seen work and you've received feedback that works with your children? I mean, obviously get up at what time, but any kind of routines or suggestions on routines that will help them engage their mind, their body, and their soul into their day. Do you have anything?
Yes, so there is no fixed activities, but what we try to achieve, I think what most parents should try to achieve is to build in as much similarities in the activity that they do at home compared to in school, right? Yes, so some of the easier way would be to cut down on the useful screen time. All right, so I think currently most students, they should be getting about 2 hours of home-based learning on the maybe iPad or on the computer. Right. So
how much in a day?
Sorry, so I think currently it will be about 2 hours, including their So home-based, we have like conference with the teachers and their classmates doing just physical activities or storytelling through the Zoom conference. And so I think cutting it back down to 2 hours and making sure that those 2 hours of screen times are really useful and not just mindless screen time. So,
right.
Yeah.
So thinking about that screen time thing, Zen, is a good friend of mine, Dr. I, professor. She's a retired professor now teaching the Classroom Without Walls home-based learning platform, and she always promotes the idea of be creative and constructive, not be a consumer. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, I mean, of course, as a teacher myself, I do not encourage a lot of screen time, but I do think that screen time is important as well, especially in this our new age of technology. So what is more important is more of how do we use this screen time. Watching videos on YouTube, probably not the best idea if you if you take it as just a time waster or a babysitting activity.
Right.
When you are on screen, what we want to do is have more of those mental activity that encourage the children to think, that questions them on maybe some practices that they have or that they are going to be exposed to.
Right, at any age, right? So
Yes.
I mean, if I can be selfish, I just run by my schedule. Maybe it's beneficial to some of you out there who have kids between the age of 7 to 12, and so we have more morning wake up, must have breakfast together. We do some exercise, and then there's something of like a brain teaser game or a game of cards or something that involves, critical thinking and like a puzzle or just a simple game. And I just try and engage their mind. And then at the end of the day, what we do is we do dinner. We must have dinners together. And after dinner, we make sure that we have playtime, which is not outdoor playtime, but it's just quiet, fun playtime, like a board game or something. It doesn't necessarily have to be computer games, because we don't want them to channel down into that, especially when they're going to bedtime. And then I put them to bed with soft music or, like a reading. They'll read to me or I'll read to them. And then we have, a couple of simple questions that I ask them. And I say, like, one is, what did you like most about your day? What is something you don't like about your day? And what are you most excited about tomorrow? So that's a framework that I use. For younger kids, is there something that you recommend? I mean, we don't want to tell parents how to raise their children. We're more like, what I'm looking for from you, Zen, is like, what are little things that will help them sleep better or wake up happier? Like wake up happier and have a great day, like put their mind in the moment, and at the end of the day, be able to switch off from all of those things that happen, like meditation, yoga, or whatever, and then start the new day. Have you got anything in that space?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, if you take into the account of our children's waking hours, is probably about 12 to 14 hours a day. So excluding their sleep and nap time is probably about 12 hours. So those 2 hours of screen time is actually a lot, but I think it's more of like a compensation for the parents juggling their work and family demands, right? So when you really have to work, yes, 2 hours of screen time, 1 hour probably on the conference with the teacher, and probably another 1 hour of like screen activity, right? So that's one of the way. And then when you have the time, definitely 1 hour a day would be that should be the bare minimum where you can do activities with your kids. So that's family time, parents-child interaction, and it will be good to do something that would like engage them in some of the mastery of their developmental practices. So things like puppet show, storytelling. Yes, so kids at any age, they would love to do like a storytelling. If they are shy to act, then maybe they can do a puppet show, so they can portray their character onto maybe a puppet or a doll, and let them just try to interact more through it. So I think most children will find it fun and engaging, and it also helps to build on their vocabulary and ensure that their language does not get rusty.
Thanks, Zen. I mean, that's really, really good advice for parents. I mean, it's a tough time, as we've talked about, and we got to frame it. And one of my mentors is Tony Robbins, and he always says it's not so bad. It's just the framing. How you frame the situation is the key. So if we frame it as bad and we role model it as bad, well, then it's a negative situation. Just like in a car, if I'm tailgating you, Zen, and you jam your brakes, I have no control over what you did. That's completely out of my control. And I choose whether to beat the horn and get aggressive and get angry with you. But in fact, you might have had a heart attack. You might have, something might have happened to you, which is out of your control. And for me to be instantly aggressive, that's my thinking. That's my process. I'm reacting rather than being considerate and understanding. So, man, I totally get it, Zen, and that's the beauty of working with young kids. Just to share with you, I did work with Montessori in Taiwan many years ago, and it just really, really opened up my thinking about children way before I was a father. And so speaking with you about this topic, I resonate with a lot of things that you're saying. And if parents haven't done Montessori classes, you can reach out to Zen. I've put your work plays, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, work plays. I'll put that up again. And yeah, I mean, feel free to reach out to Zen and find out about the Montessori method. And there are many Montessori schools around, and but just the method in preschool of getting the children to actively do things without all the noise and the fuss, and cognitively having the tools. I've got to go back and refresh. Having the tools and making something with it that is not necessarily what we want them to do, it's what they feel that they want to do. So their journey is completely decided by them. I think that's beautiful with the kids. So going back to school, let's go back to that. We are going to wrap up really soon. We want to keep these sessions really short and punchy and with real good value for our viewers. So for going back to school, Zen, we've discussed attitude, framework, more routines, right? Routines. So social, emotional, structure. Is there anything else that parents should be thinking when they're going back?
I think that should basically cover them all. So as long as the parents, they just got to make sure that they prep their kids. We are going back to school on the 2nd of June. We are going to start school soon. I'm sure you are going to be happy to meet all your friends again. And so to in that frame of mind to want to go back to school.
I think Zen, that's a really, really, really good point. Is don't leave it long. Start early. Mentally prepare them. And it doesn't mean doing loads of homework. This is not what it's about. It's just mean, next week we're going to go back to school, and then leave it. And then the next day or the nighttime, how do you feel about going back to school next week? Do you? And then find things that they can relate with, right? Are you looking forward to seeing Sarah? Are you looking forward to seeing Miss Teacher and the teacher's name so that they have some connection, right? Because they might be disconnected for a couple of weeks. And then I'm thinking, based on what you were talking about, I'm thinking now, how about after they go back to school, the first day or the second day, we would need to have a reflection and possibly celebrate them going back to school. Do you feel that this is valuable for the kids?
Yes, of course. I mean, when we teach, we always encourage our children to celebrate all their small wins. So once they manage to do something, they achieve something, we celebrate it so that they get a very positive self-esteem. So celebration definitely is key. So
Right. So in summary, let's go through the four keys to a smooth transition out of COVID into school, or out of school holidays back into school. Let's just jot them down, and maybe we can put them in the show notes as well for people so they can download it or they can review it. So number one would be what? Mind, do you think? Like
frame, mindset.
Mindset, getting the mindset set that they're going back to school. It's a positive thing, reassurance, love, because you talked about the hierarchy of needs, right? Love and security and safety, make them feel that. Number two would be what?
Number two would be a more scheduled timetable.
Right, timetable, schedule, lock it in, start broad, and then try and fill it, I suppose, backfill it with things. Yeah, okay, cool. And then three, what else could they do?
So number three, probably it's more of start to give them the preparation to go back. So start slipping in comments like we are getting back to school.
That routine, around the schedule that we've made, get the routine in practice, because a couple of days it might fail, right? They might sleep in late, or they might be really grumpy, and you don't want to be the authoritarian. You don't want to be the authoritarian drumming it to them. You want to be the authoritative parent who is guiding and instructing and moving them there. Yeah, true. And then, is there anything else? reflection and sharing. So after they go back, I'm just thinking on that, Zen. There is something that I did with my kids that might be valuable. We have time here, just another minute, is lunch boxes. Now, I'm a single dad, and I've got 2 boys, and it's been really, really tough. But I learned this trick a long time ago. In the lunch boxes, try to get them, depending on the age, you do it for them for younger kids, but as they get a bit older, you get them to make their favorite sandwich so they've got skin in the game. So they actually, sometimes they bring home the sandwiches uneaten because I made it and they just didn't feel like it. But if they make it themselves, they choose the ingredient, they put it in, even if sometimes it's not particularly what you want them to eat, like a jam sandwich or something, but it's okay. And then inside the box, put a treat. Now, I'm not talking about sugar treats. I'm just talking about a fruit treat or a couple of apricots or a couple of nuts or something they don't eat all the time, but they actually really like, right? And then the final thing, this is the icing on the cake. Don't know if you've heard this before, is write a little note, right? Every day, if you can, but every other day if you can't. And you just write a little simple note in there like, I really remember how to give good praise, not rubbish praise, right? Not worthless praise. We want good praise. I loved the way that you gave me a hug this morning. Love you. Have a great day. That's it. Another one, you're right. Another example would be something like, I really hope that you have an awesome day and you can give me a call after school. So we're prompting them to be responsible. We're prompting them to do things that we want them to do without telling, you make sure you give me a call after school, will ya? Yeah. So have you come across this plan before with lunch boxes?
Yes. So, yes, I think definitely anything that can give them a bit more security, make them feel good about themselves when they don't feel very safe or when they're uncertain. Yes,
Right.
that would be a good tip. And another tip that I can share, which
good.
is okay, I'm gonna cut it really short. So what you can do is just give them something of yours. So if mommy have a hairband, maybe you can just slip it around their hands so it becomes their wristband for the day. So at any time they feel that, I'm missing home, I'm missing mommy, then they can take a look and say, yes, mommy's here with me. Right.
Zen, I've never thought of that. I've never heard of that, but that is gold. And I think that's a really, really good way to end the show with something unexpected, but something really, really personal with the children. So folks, if you didn't hear it, just quickly find something of personal value that they relate with and put it in their bag or give it to them, put it on their band or their necklace or in their pocket or something if they're allowed that at school, and they will remember that. So that's wonderful advice. And it's been excellent to have you on the show. And remember that Principal Jiang Haixin is from Work Plays Montessori, and you're based in Bukit Timah, correct?
Bukit Timah, and we have another one in Teluk Blangah as well.
Okay, and so we have that written into the show notes, and so anybody would like to reach out to him, just give him a call or send him a message and ask any questions you like about the method, about his school. And I'm pretty sure that if anybody was in contact with you, be happy to share your thoughts and feelings about this transition if people are having trouble. Is that right, Zen?
Yes.
All right, so on behalf of the team here at GrowthWorks, Zen and I today going head-to-head in the first of our Parent Matters show, and we will have more shows each night that we can. Tomorrow night we have a special guest called Elong Xie, and he will be coming on to talk about this transition. A young man with a new family of 2, and he has been struggling, striving, and thriving. So thanks from us here. Thanks, Zen, for being on the show, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys later. Good night.
All right, thank you. Good night.
So there you go, guys. That was the first show in our GrowthWorks Family Matters. And we were really, really fortunate to have Coach Zen on the show tonight. So he's a coach and also a principal of the school, as mentioned. And if you have any feedback, if you have any questions you'd like to ask us, please put them in the comments below, and we'll catch up with you soon. All the best. Good night.